Welcome to a Malevolent Trait Tuesday. It is Tuesday, June 11th, here on the Damon Bruce Show, brought to you by Ike's Sandwiches. Welcome on back. It is great to have you here once again. You could be a lot of places. You choose to be here. Hopefully you choose to like and subscribe as well. As always, memberships are open. Super chats appreciated. But just liking and subscribing gets us a whole almost halfway there. It really does. We begin with our thumbnail topic, and that is the fact that the 49ers got themselves an official cover boy. How about that? Christian McCaffrey's getting the cover of Madden25. He is already a total stud in the game. If you've played with Christian McCaffrey, getting that cover boy boost is basically going to make him unstoppable in this upcoming version of Madden, which I'm just going to be fully transparent about. I'm not buying Madden this year. I am spending all of my now very hard to find video game free time playing college football when that comes out. For the last decade, I've had every version of Madden. I'm skipping this year in the name of totally immersing myself in college football when that comes out. So you're going to have to tell me how this game actually plays, but McCaffrey is your cover boy. Good for him. Good for him. What's amazing is when you think of how popular the 49ers are and when you think about all the great players that they have, and Madden covers have often not only paid tribute to players of modern times, but look back at great players throughout all time. Christian McCaffrey is going to be the first ever Niner uniform on the cover in the player-centric era. McCaffrey's the first running back to be on the cover since Adrian Peterson and Barry Sanders back in 2013, the first non-quarterback since Antonio Brown. Remember that jackass back in 2018? So a running back, what do you know? They mean something, I guess, again, to the NFL. McCaffrey says it's a dream come true. How could it not be? Like, I seriously, I don't want to hear a word about the Madden curse. I really don't. You should not think, although it is great that the 49ers have baked in the excuse of not winning the Super Bowl just right here. Congratulations. But, apparently Garrison Hurst did appear on some international edition of Madden, but not released here in the United States. McCaffrey says it's a dream come true. And then, like he always is, he's saying the perfect thing about himself, the team, his teammates, when he goes on to say, I feel really grateful because obviously stuff like this is a testament to my teammates, my coaches, and the people who have helped me be in position to have success, and I'm really grateful for that. I mean, Christian McCaffrey is a badass. And what a year he just had, and what a summer this guy is actually having. Who's having a better summer than Christian McCaffrey? I mean, think about it. He is the reigning offensive player of the year, over 2,000 scrimmage yards last season, 21 total touchdowns, a Super Bowl appearance. We won't even talk about that opening drive fumble. This is a pro McCaffrey opening topic here today. He signed a 2-year, $38 million extension just last week. He celebrated a birthday just last week. He's now 28 years old. And in a few weeks from now, he's going to get married to his to his girlfriend, to his fiance, who just happens to be a former Miss Universe. I mean, the McCaffreys, as a family, have got abs. This is a good-looking couple. I mean, who's better looking, the Miss Universe or Christian McCaffrey? I mean, we got handsome and beautiful. We got abs on both sides of the picture. And I tell you, whenever I see a picture of the two of them, they are on some, unbelievable vacation. Looks like they're in Bali or, some sort of a white sandy beach scenario, a thatched hut, Tahiti level scenario. All of their vacations look like, what is this, your 9th honeymoon? The truth is they haven't even been on a single honeymoon yet. They're about to go on a honeymoon after they get married. Again, $38 million guaranteed offseason, reigning offensive player of the year, just turned 28 and about to marry a former Miss Universe, Madden cover athlete. Christian McCaffrey's got the world by the short and curlies, man. He really does. Wow. We wish. Really good story that came up, by the way, when I was getting the details of, the Madden cover. I thought we could get into like Madden curses, and I found something much more interesting. And it's about Christian McCaffrey and Olivia Culpo, who is his fiance. So again, they've been dating since 2011, or excuse me, since 2019, and they're about to get married. So they've been together for like 5 years. Again, they're both fantastic looking people. They've got this their child, if they have a child, is going to be so genetically predisposed to be good looking and athletic. It's ridiculous. Like, can I bet on like unborn children, like in future stock? Can I get a future on the McCaffrey offspring? I just want a future option on the McCaffrey offspring. Like, I'm just betting on the fact that that kid is going to grow up right. And at the very least with abs. So the McCaffreys, again, I've been seeing them on vacation since 2019, basically. They look great in bathing suits, so good. Like you kind of want to hate them, but you just can't. So they've been together a really, really long time. She has been going to his football games since his days in Carolina. And, obviously they're at the Super Bowl, and that's a very, very exciting thing. It's a very big moment, and you want to celebrate these big moments by marking them with family and friends. And so Olivia Culpo was looking into maybe getting a suite at Allegiant Stadium for the Super Bowl. Well, Super Bowl suites were going for $2 million at last year's Super Bowl. Look, it's $2 million for about 5 hours of entertainment. Like, I don't care who is in the game, how you're related to them. So basically when Jillian's big moments come around, we want to celebrate them, and she's always looking to go that extra mile. That I'm like, honey, let's pull back just a little, right? Let's come on, we can go out to dinner on one of our birthdays here, or a Mother's Day or a Father's Day, but we probably at this moment in time shouldn't be going to French Laundry. Well, the McCaffreys are rich people, but again, $2 million for a few hours of entertainment that could end. And in this last Super Bowl did end on a terrible note. So you're not guaranteed to have fun when the game is over, right? She wants to buy a suite for the family, for her friends. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of models in there. I'm sure there's people to whack up the price too. But Christian McCaffrey heard about this, and he was just like, darling, no, you will sit in the stands like a normal human being. We are not spending $2 million for you to just go to another football game. And even though it's a Super Bowl, it really is. It's just another football game that she's attending. She's probably been to over 100 of them. We don't need to spend $2 million on this one. It's again, I have been to so many sporting events that I just can't pay to get in. I just can't. If ever I have to buy a ticket, I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm spending any money on this because I've been so spoiled in my life. And I'm guessing the McCaffreys have been given really plumb nice tickets to go to a lot of great games. But that's it. I want the suite for the Super Bowl. How much is it? $2 million. And she's like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. And he's like, no, honey, let's not do that. So he stopped her from making a purchase that would have been $2 million for a few hours of entertainment. It makes me like him more. It really does. I mean, there's going to be a point where I could be a billionaire and still not. I'm just going to be like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not dropping $2 million on a football suite for a few hours when I know that I could give this $2 million to like any charity in the world and start changing lives for the better. No, we're not spending $2 million on a Super Bowl suite. So anyways, Olivia, we love you. You are hot enough to want a $2 million Super Bowl suite and almost hot enough to get it. But luckily, that Stanford education reigned supreme in the moment. And Christian's like, how about you just buy a game for, a few good tickets for a couple of $1,000s? which is also an exorbitant expense. But, just slow down on the $2 million suite. Sip of the day. By the way, notice we're not in the big tumbler today. We got the little discreet mug. Look at me making good choices, right? The smaller cup has made the coffee get colder faster. I'm glad I snuck that in. We might have blown the sip of the day if we waited any longer. The same way Olivia Cupo was ready to blow $2 million on a Super Bowl suite at Allegiant Stadium. Honey, slow your roll. Like we can get surf and turf, but we're going to skip the caviar course. No skipping the caviar course when you go to Ike's. Get caviar on your sandwich. It's probably an option, or maybe it isn't. But just about anything else under the sun, he's got as an option to add to any sandwich you might want. I want you to download that Ike's app and use it to order your next Ike's order. Whether you go pick it up or have it delivered to you, Ike's sandwiches, go through that app. Earn your way to free sandwiches in the future. You'll be very happy that you did. And if you download that app, you'll be able to take advantage of the special promo codes that my man has given me and just our little Plusser community to use to get good, free, delicious things. Ike sandwiches. Everything but the caviar. That should probably be the sandwiches, the entire chain's motto. Ike sandwiches. Love sandwiches. Everything but the caviar. There we go. Can we get that, Ike? Do that. Also got to tell you about my good friends at the Dubliner in West Portal. Love Kenny, love the Dubliner. I love getting a good Guinness at the Dubliner. You can catch me in there just sitting around on an afternoon. I'll be in there sometimes pulling on a Guinness. Happy about it. If I'm feeling frisky, might get a little shot on the side. It's my version of surf and turf right there. Get yourself to the Dubliner in West Portal. Tell Kenny that the Damon Brew Show sent you. He will be more than happy to say hello and greet you with a smile and a great pour, and you'll be very, very happy that you are at the Dubliner. Trust me. Hey, excuse me, little coffee burp right there. Got to let you know that the Presidio Half Marathon is coming up from my charity group, The Guardsmen. It's coming up on Sunday, June 23rd at Crissy Field. There is a half marathon, a 10K, a 5K, or you can just show up at Crissy Field on what will hopefully be a beautiful morning and drink some beers, Bloody Marys, eat pancakes and sausage while you look at the Golden Gate Bridge and say, my God, how lucky are we to live right here and have this view in our own backyard. And you get to support a wonderful charity that is raising money for Bay Area's at-risk youth. The Presidio Half Marathon is coming up, my friends, brought to you by my friends at The Guardsmen. So sign up today at guardsmen.org, or if you're looking to make just a nice charitable contribution, that's a great place to do it. It's always tax-free, of course, all those good things. We get all those good things aside to talk about malevolent traits. It's a Malevolent Trait Tuesday, okay? I saw a story yesterday that almost made yesterday's show, but I'm like, I want to read this a little bit more. I want to do a little more Googling around it here. Notice I didn't say research. I didn't want to do my own research. The amount of times that the word research gets substituted for I Googled that is embarrassing. I'm not doing research. I'm Googling things. But what I had to Google started by a story from Nina Massey in The Telegraph over in London. With the Olympic Games starting next month, the world's attention, she writes, will once again turn to physical performance of elite athletes. But some of the personality traits that are a key to their success may not be what you expect. And an awful lot of you are going to start nodding in agreement, going, yeah, I guess I really never thought about it that way, but that makes sense. That makes sense. New research suggests that being self-centered, ruthless, and manipulative helps elite athletes achieve glory. In other words, characteristics which might be frowned upon in civil society are actually attributes for professional athletes. Now, it can also certainly be a reason why an athlete and a coach don't get along, why a coach abuses their players, why disagreements break out at press conferences. But a lot of the fuel of competition comes from traits that are also shared with, like criminals and serial killers and things like that. Joseph Stanford. It's his name. It's not a guy named Joseph down at Stanford. Joseph Stanford, who is the lead author in this research, said that specific characteristics considered malevolent in social settings are highly relevant in performance sports. High-performance environments can often attract people who feel superior, are ruthless in the pursuit of winning, and have a heightened belief that they can influence others for their own personal success. Researchers investigated the personalities and relationship qualities of more than 300 elite athletes. By the way, none of them baseball players, none of them NBA players, none of them football players. And you would assume that of all the malevolent traits, you would find more in those groups of American professional athletes than in others. But this is just, she was researching swimmers and triathletes and cyclists and their coaches. They looked specifically at a group of personalities known as the dark triad. Like, I'm in for any triad. You're telling me I got a dark triad? Oh, tell me more. The dark triad consists of narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism, which is basically those who are strategic when it comes to exploitation and deceit. I think the other word for that in sports is skullduggery, where you're trying to psych out, outthink, deceive, manipulate your opponent. This is skullduggery. This is gamesmanship. Maybe skullduggery and gamesmanship are nicer ways to say Machiavellianism or narcissism or psychopathy. I love this article. Although these traits are perceived negatively in the general population, they may offer advantages within high-performance settings, such as elite sports. It's a very interesting article, and I'm going to take it a step further, and then I'm going to apply it to a topic that everybody seems to be talking about these days. So, when I've been around people in competitive environments, and this is far beyond just sports, we're talking about high finance, we're talking about the upper echelon of the restaurant and bar game, which is very competitive here in San Francisco. We're talking about people who are, lawyers, who are sharks, doctors, who claim that they are leaders in their industries. I've been introduced and I know an awful lot of smart and successful people. And that ruthless, competitive trait, I think, is in a lot of us. And it's been so demonized that there's actually positive elements in ruthlessness and competitiveness and, the positive narcissism, if there is such a thing. But the belief in yourself that you're the one to get it done. I always used to love Rick Barry's saying when, Rick Barry used to say all the time, it ain't cocky if you can actually do it. Like, you're not bragging. You are not being cocky if you say you're going to do it and then you go out and you can do it. Rick Barry was a ruthless freaking competitor. He really was. And he remained ruthless as a competitor, even when he was like a retired nice guy. Like, you would get him waxing poetic about memories, and you could see the switch, like, actually flip And it's Rick Barry's just talking about lunch. Oh, now Rick Barry's talking about going up against Wilt Chamberlain. And like a different guy, a different mode just kicked in. Really interesting stuff. I have seen all of these traits very much on full display into the Caitlin Clark story, which has really gripped America in the last month. I think all of this negative Machiavellian energy that is being, interpreted as jealousy of the WNBA as it surrounds her and, is dwarfed by her individual popularity right now. You have an awful lot of these dark traits coming out in these highly competitive world-class athletes. And they're targeting Caitlin Clark as the bullseye of their darker traits or their ruthlessness and their ultra-competitive nature. At the risk of stepping into a conversation about women, here I go. I have seen this with my own wife in the corporate setting, which is highly competitive, that she operates in. And, okay. Have you ever noticed that if a guy gets promoted to, the C-suite, all of a sudden this person is flying up the flagpole of their corporation, their industry, their boardroom, and now they are in charge? Has anyone ever noticed that there's never been a single okay, so if you get there, I want you to put your hand back and help pull everyone up behind you to your level of success? This is what women are sold often. There's an element of some, well-intended Spice Girl, women empowerment, women helping other women thing that I've seen my wife get derailed by. Jillian is a well-intended, beautiful, lovely person, and she's really, really good at her job. And there are women who have ranked above her that she always assumed, my relationship with these women above me is definitely going to help my career. And the truth is that the women who climbed all the way to the top of the highly competitive tech world are probably more competitive and more fucking ruthless than the guys that made it there, right? For the women to have climbed through their own professional growth, break glass ceilings, and, get to the boardroom, they're the baddest motherfuckers in the room. I know Amy Trask. Amy Trask is, now she's a sweetheart on social media, and she's she loves ice cream and walks on the beach and hi everybody and all that stuff. You know how Amy Trask became Al Davis's right-hand man or woman in her case for a while? She was fucking ruthless. Amy's nice that she's out of it now, but she didn't get there being nice to everyone. And she didn't get there by, okay, so when I get there, I'm going to help all the women around me. No. Amy Trask never was interested in helping the women around her. She was working on her own to grow her own career. When you see people reach the top, chances are those people are pretty damn ruthless, and that's how they got to the top. Once you join the world of cutthroat, it doesn't become reach back and help everyone join you. It becomes dog eat dog. And that is what I think is going on with Caitlin Clark more than anything. Look at women empowerment in sports over the last few years and all the glad handing of women empower other women. Women are here to help other women. And then here comes a woman into the WNBA that every other woman in the WNBA is immediately threatened by. And you are looking at the results of all of that. these ruthless, highly competitive athletes are not embracing Caitlin Clark. They're trying to punch her, and even at the detriment of the growth of their own league. They remain this highly competitive athlete. I identify with it. Again, when I was on a radio station, I wanted every single show in front of me and behind me to do very, very well. But being in radio was never about being a team sport. I wanted my show to have the best ratings on the station that I was on. No, I didn't do anything to stunt the growth of another show. But I wanted mine to be the best. And oh, by the way, it was. So the traits that society deems malevolent traits are commonly found in highly successful, highly competitive, highly motivated people. And you can turn to the dark side or you can turn to the light side. It's very, very interesting. The dynamic that is sold and the reality that confronts the truth of the situation. Like, I know Kate Scott. Kate Scott is an awesome person. And Kate Scott really does want to serve as an example for other women play-by-play hosts. And she does want to empower young girls who do not threaten her in their young womanhood, girlhood, to, seek a career in broadcasting if you want to. But the minute, I guarantee you, there's a woman breathing down the neck of her job in Philadelphia, I guarantee you things would change quickly. I guarantee you that Kate Scott all of a sudden wouldn't be trying to help a woman get her out of her job because she earned it. Now she's going to protect it. So again, the whole we're all in this together is kind of a t-shirt. It's a bumper sticker more than it's reality. And I think we're watching this play out in real time through the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. And I think that is more true than any element of jealousy, monetary jealousy, a race issue, which a lot of people really want to insert into this. I don't think that's it. I think this is someone who, even though they're getting, more chicken for everybody, the other women look at her as a threat more than they do as the rising tide which will lift all boats in the harbor. And I guess all boats should be a little weary of the ocean. So there you go. I loved that article. I was in it. By the way, I gotta get Kate Scott on the show. It's been forever since I've talked to her. She's doing so good in Philadelphia. Here's the thing. I'm not about believing hey, all women sports broadcasters are great at this. No, they're not. There's a lot that stink. But Kate is really good. Kate is really good. A little bit more on Caitlin Clark and her Olympic snub, right? The powers that be in the WNBA associated with the U.S. women's national team, they're trying to explain it away. She needs more experience. There are other qualified athletes who have been waiting their turn to go to the Olympics, and they're in front of her in line. What they're basically saying is there are steps to this. And I can appreciate that. And I think that there's some truth to that. And I get it. You could also say that, Caitlin Clark hasn't earned it yet. And even though that is more of an opinion and it's debatable, I'll agree with you. Sure. Okay, she hasn't earned it yet. There are steps to this. but skipping steps is very common in sports and should be embraced when something special is happening. And something special is happening in the WNBA and in women's basketball. For example, the entire world went from laughing at and yawning at your sport to actually paying attention to it. Like, that's a special moment for the WNBA. You want to embrace that. You want to embrace the cause of that. And I just saw the report today that the WNBA is coming off a record month of ratings. They are getting triple the average audience of last year. Well, why is that? Well, it's because the national games have Caitlin Clark in them. That's why. That's why. The WNBA can try to, spread the success story around the league as much as they want. That's a little performative. Caitlin Clark is the North Star by which all ratings are setting their compass. That she is the one that is bringing more eyeballs to the party than anybody else, than any other team, than any other group, than any other class, than any other anything. Right or wrong, fair or foul, the WNBA really should be measured in the same way that we measure the whole element of our modern timeline. BC and AD. BC, before Christ. AD, Anno Domini, which means year of our Lord. BC is before Caitlin Clark. BC, before, I guess it works either way. Before Clark, before Caitlin. And AD is after she's drafted. The entire WNBA timeline can be separated by that moment. The drafting of Caitlin, not Rebecca Lobo, not Lisa Leslie, not Sabrina Ayahuasca, not anybody. Caitlin Clark is the AD, the BC AD of the entire WNBA timeline. She is the moment in time that changed everything. And again, this is why you send her to the Olympics. And you go up to one of the probably could not even be identified by 99% of America, other women on the team, and you say, look, I understand that you really want to represent this country, but you can't be on the team. We're replacing you with Caitlin Clark, and here's why. Because it's better for the growth of the sport than you being on this team is. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow this sport. You send her to the Olympics, and more people will become familiar with the other players because they'll be watching. Doesn't matter what brings you the eyeballs. The fact is the eyeballs are now upon you. So you should do everything to keep those eyeballs upon you. And while the eyeballs are looking at you, they're going to see the things around you. Like the WNBA players that make up the women's national team are, they're all pros. And the rest of these countries will be featuring a huge amount of WNBA players on their roster. Remember Raz Gold-Onwude? Okay, so Raz Gold-Onwude, she went to Stanford. She was a hell of a basketball player. She gets drafted in the WNBA, but she's not good enough to make the American Olympic team. So she went to the Nigerian Olympic team and played for them. That was her Olympic experience. So when Team USA was playing Nigeria, what do you know? We can talk about this other player who is in the WNBA. So now you're getting to know her. I was watching a little Colin Cowherd today, and he made a great point when he said, nobody knew who Mary Lou Retton was before the Olympics. Nobody. But we all got introduced to her at the Olympics. Caitlin Clark being on the women's team would have introduced more people to the other players around her in the WNBA on the other rosters than without her. The U.S. women's national team can hold all the well-reasoned, well-thought-out press conferences that they want. The truth is they totally fucked up a chance to grow their own sport. by leaving her off the team. You fucked up the chance to grow your own sport globally. Globally. You screwed this up. There's one thing to screw up things in the continental United States. It's another thing entirely to screw something up globally. That's how big of a mistake this was from the U.S. women's national team. And anyone who wants to try to, say, well, Damon, you're wrong. No. I am not wrong. You are. That's what's wrong about this. The hubris that, oh, no, we know what's best for our sport. No, you don't. If left to your own accord, the WNBA has never known what's best for its own sport. Never. Couldn't function on its own if it wanted to. Now it's got a little bit of a chance, and it's got a little bit of a chance because it's becoming profitable and interesting and part of the zeitgeist of our culture thanks to the keyhole of Caitlin Clark that everyone is peeking at the rest of the league through her keyhole. Malevolent Trait Tuesday. We learned a lot today, right? Aren't we learning a lot today on this Malevolent Trait Tuesday? Look, I don't know what you're going to watch later tonight. I don't know what shows you're going to listen to later. This is the most interesting show today. I promise you this will be the most interesting show that you consume all day long. Thank you very much for being here. Like and subscribe. You want to take malevolent traits all the way to its worst conclusion? Well, Xavien Howard has done that. Seems like he's a real piece of shit human. Have you seen the story about the former Dolphins cornerback who is a free agent right now? Former Miami Dolphins star cornerback Xavien Howard sent a male teenager a sexually explicit photograph of the team's mother because she refused to get an abortion. Think of that. Think of that allegation if indeed true. And by the way, there's a new court filing that alleges all of this. The allegation comes in a lawsuit filed last year by another woman who is accusing Howard, who's 30 years old, of secretly recording them having sex and then sharing that recording with another woman. She says Howard also shared without consent sex tapes she had agreed to make. The attorney for that woman wants the teenager, who is now 18 years old, to be added as a plaintiff against Howard, who was released this offseason by the Dolphins in a money-saving move and is a free agent right now and should be nowhere around the NFL just based on this story alone. Think about that. You're trying to convince a woman to get an abortion, and you blackmail her by saying, I'm going to send sexually explicit photos of you to your child unless you get an abortion? Like Xavien Howard, if this is true, if this really happened, I hope you're in a horrific car crash and you lose your penis as a result of the car crash. Like you smashed it against the steering wheel and you have to have a penile amputation. Like that's terrible. That is just freaking terrible. Malevolent Trait Tuesday. I'm glad Xavien Howard made today's show. I mean, what element of that story isn't disgusting? Ugh. Gareth, nice mug. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Gareth. I appreciate that. Red Eye says the amount of money that charities actually use to help people is like very little, 50% or less. Yikes. Well, not Guardsmen. Every single penny that you give to the Guardsmen beyond covering operational costs goes directly to Bay Area at-risk youth. And our operational costs are kept low by having an all-volunteer army of young men who come out and give their precious free time to help raise money for Bay Area at-risk youth. So, Red Eye, you are very right to question charitable contributions and where that money goes. For example, if you've ever given any element of any of your money to a Donald Trump charity, it was stolen and not given to that charity. But the Guardsmen are not like that. So and you can look all this up if you'd like to, really put our money where our mouths is, and that is getting the money to the kids. But you are right to be skeptical. SF Indigo says, never skip the caviar. I would always suggest you skip the caviar. I would always, when Gianna and I did go to the French Laundry, when Travis Ishikawa hit a home run to put the Giants in the World Series, when we went to the French Laundry, the best advice I got was, when you're there, you're going to be offered the caviar course for both of you. It tacks on almost $300 to the meal. One of you should get it. You should split it, and it basically turns into a couple spoonfuls of fish eggs, and it ain't. Caviar is a little overrated. It really is. Caviar is overrated. At one point, you are delivering onions and sour cream on the nice little pancake more than you are those fish eggs. And there's an element of the salty pop and the texture to the caviar, but I think caviar is wildly overrated. I would much rather spend the money not on the caviar, but on the bottle of wine, on the the fancy shot of something at the end of the night, some real good sipping whiskey or something like that. That's where you should spend that extra money. Albert wants to know, when is the next Plus Mania? Not for a while, Albert, but it will be coming. It will be coming soon, and you will know all about it. Enrique Rivera saying, hey, man, hey, I love Chrissy Field. I love Bloody Marys. Well, we hope to see you out at the Guardsman Half Marathon. We really, really do. Big Trent and Prince serve pancakes everywhere they go. Yeah, well, hey. Pancakes. Game. Blouses. Okay. So we will get back into the chat here in just a little. Oh, look at Red Eye. Meh, Damon is boring. Dude, if I'm boring, what fucking show isn't? If I qualify as boring, what shows are you listening to that are less boring than this? Please let me know, because if it's on the radio, I'll be stunned. Get out of here. Damon's boring. You can criticize me for a lot of things. Boring, it ain't one of those. See what smarter people think, Albert Kwan. This is nerding out. The nerding out that I like with Damon. Yeah, it's also June 11th. We got to look for some things to talk about, and this was an interesting topic as far as I was concerned. You want more sports? All right, good. Here it comes. The Giants won an extra inning game on Monday night. Oh, my goodness. It looked like they were going to lose an extra inning game thanks to that ghost runner on second. And in the 10th inning, look, that ghost runner thing has to go, or at least started in like the 12th inning. Give me a couple innings of normal extra inning Major League Baseball, please. And then if you got to go to the ghost runner thing, which you don't need to go to, but if you do have to go to it, wait until the 12th inning before we see that stupid ghost runner. Anyway, Kyle Harrison had a really good outing against Houston. Austin Slater actually did something at the plate, driving in the winning run. And Giants are going to try to take another one off the Astros with Jordan Hicks getting the ball for Bob Melvin tonight. Hicks got a 2.82 ERA that leads the Giants rotation. Logan Webb behind him with a 2.92. He goes on Wednesday. Let's see if the Giants can't put 3 wins in a row together here against Houston and actually get a little picture of Broomhilda sometime midweek before the Anaheim Angels get here. A's at the Padres this evening. Fernando Tatis Jr., he homered last night, extends his career best hitting streak now to 16 games. The A's latest losing streak has reached 3 games. A's could use a few more malevolent traits. Oh, no, wait. It's not malevolent traits that's hurting the A's. It's a lousy owner. Stanley Cup, Florida, 2-0 lead over Edmonton. The Stanley Cup final continue. Game 3 is Thursday in Canada. And again, if I can't interest you in a Canada-based Stanley Cup game, you probably shouldn't pay any attention to the sport at all. I will be watching Game 3 Thursday Edmonton, do something. Do something to make this a series. I'll say the same thing about Wednesday night. Hey, do me a favor. Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Dallas Mavericks, do something. Frickin' do something, would you please? Boston's up 2-0. The Mavericks must win this game to make the series a series, any kind of a series at all. So huge game and an otherwise huge yawn of an NBA playoffs this year. We are 91 days away from Monday night, 49ers and Jets, week 1 of the NFL season. That is less than 3 months, and if that's not enough to get you excited, I really don't know what will. Hopefully, that's not boring. In the meantime, thank you for being with me here today, for parking your malevolent traits somewhere safe and sound long enough to hang out here today. Please hit like and subscribe. We're about to hop into Club Plus here on YouTube, but if you've been listening on the podcast, thank you very, very much. I hope you have a day full of great traits. Not just malevolent traits, but a great trait Tuesday the rest of your day. And as always, thank you very much for watching, for listening. And I do want to remind you that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Disco ball about to get squeaky up in here. Yeah. What do we got? What do we got? Look at Vince. Damon was the baddest at 95.7. Well, thank you very, very much. I appreciate that. Taylor doesn't empower other women. Just ask Taylor Swift. She's as cutthroat as the rest of them. Look at it this way. You're running a $1 billion empire. You better be cutthroat. Sporticus. Tapping into the dark side between the lines is admirable as long as you can shut that off outside the game. Yeah. Chef A says everyone needs a mentor, and there's a big difference if you mentor versus a sucker. Yeah, I mean, if you are kind enough to want to mentor and help people, but yeah, I mean, no one's going to jeopardize their own chicken. Speaking of which, True Blue forever. I'll take some more chicken. We all want more chicken. We are all looking for more chicken. Chef A. Again, I used to say to my cooks, just be good at what you do. Being nice is a bonus. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I want people who produce. I don't want people who are like virtue signaling nice people. I want production. Damon, bring Mark Ibanez on the plus. I wonder what Ibanez is doing, man. I really do. Albert Kwan. If I do go see, if Ibanez comes on the plus, I want to go up to his house up in Napa and go into the vinyl room where he's got all those cool albums of his. Albert says, Damon, what are your thoughts on Doris Burke? Doris Burke was better when we were served less of her. Doris Burke has become a little performative in terms of just trying to put the sunny side on it. I like my Doris Burke who is willing to criticize things, not just trying to land everything as sunny as possible. Like Doris Burke not giving a fuck about being a broadcaster was better than Doris Burke is aware that she's now a broadcaster in a very prominent position and she's trying to conduct business as nicely as possible. I liked more of give me the more ruthless Doris Burke than the sanitized for mass consumption Doris Burke. But the truth is, that entire broadcast beyond Mike Breen is inferior, and the studio shows around ESPN's broadcast as opposed to TNT's broadcast are the junior varsity of studio shows. They got a ton of talent, high-priced talent, sitting on a dais talking about absolutely nothing that just happened or is germane to the game in any way, shape, or form. Let's see. Again, Seaside Blade Runner says, bad move by the WNBA. Most folks only know her. The WNBA needed the exposure. Again, I don't even know if this is the WNBA or the U.S. women's national team. Whoever made this choice, here's the thing. The choice, even as they try to defend it, is still indefensible. And I don't care about, there are steps to this. Yeah, and you should skip all those bullshit, imaginary, totally, made up steps to this and put the most popular player in your sport on a team to put more eyeballs on your sport than ever before. Globally. Lori says, it's really not fair to Caitlin Clark. She's a rookie trying to assimilate into the pros. Everything she does is under scrutiny. She's handling it well. Lori, she might be handling her career better than anybody, better than any of her teammates, her own coach, the opposing team, or the media that covers the league. Caitlin Clark has more subtle grace to her and the way that she has handled everything than from that really weird introductory press conference with Greg Doyle being a little bit of a creepazoid in her first Indiana Fever press conference, to the women's Final Four when she was at Iowa, to her first games, her good games, her bad games, her Olympic snub. Caitlin Clark is handling her own career better than everyone around it. It's really something else. Let's see. Rockin' New Air 84. Shout out Global Gym. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Nobody. Thank you. White Goodman. Thank you very, very much. Someone said, well, Caitlin Clark's leading the league in turnovers. Right. Caitlin Clark is the only player on her own team worth guarding. Imagine putting Caitlin Clark in the gravity of her leading the WNBA in three-point percentage and shots and made threes. And she's second, I believe, in assists in the entire league. And imagine putting her on a team of everyone else can also play. Imagine the open look she would get. Caitlin Clark has never, ever in her entire basketball career since we've become familiar with it, played on a team with anybody else worth guarding on it, basically. Putting Caitlin Clark on an Olympic team where she gets nothing but wide open looks from three, it sounds like a pretty decent strategy to me. Professor Bruce, will this be on the midterm? Thank you, Albert. Nathaniel, feels like I'm in a lecture class. Well, no wonder why I was accused of being boring. I don't want this to be a lecture, but I just think that this is kind of I stumbled into a very interesting topic, I thought. Enrique, liked and subscribed. Welcome. Thank you very much, Enrique. Good to have you here. Glad you found me. Damon's cooking. Uh-oh. Thank you. Vince Vargas, I will assume this was not about me. This was about Xavien Howard. Dude has issues. He's a scumbag. Yeah, seriously. Damon, field amputation of the penis? No, we don't have to do it in the public domain. I'm all for private penis amputation. But yeah, look at it this way. If you're looking to terrorize society with your penis, it should be taken from you. Michelle Haberman saying, hey, didn't have peen amputation on today's bingo card. Yeah, that's probably why you keep on coming back. An amputation sensation. Oh my, Tim Roy. Let's amputate. Do we have any Damon Bruce mugs for sale? Only this one. No, Christmas time, holiday time, we will have our shit together. This football season, we will have some T-shirts. We'll get mugs, maybe one or two other things, but we will have some merch for you this coming holiday season. I can promise you that. Nathan Richards. Shout out Lorena Bobbitt. I mean, when it comes to lopping off penises, she's like the Barry Bonds of that, right? Who's lopped off more penises than her? Red Jet. Hello. Hello, Red Jet. Always great to see you in here. What do we got? Imagine if Red Jet came in during the penis amputation portion of the show. She's like, what? Michelle, thank you. Never in the hundreds, maybe thousands of hours I've listened to Damon, I've never been bored. Hey, you want to accuse me of broadcasting malfeasance, malpractices, whatever, you go ahead. I'm sure I've screwed up. I'm positive I've screwed up. Boring? I'm a lot of things. Boring is not one of them. You want to say I'm offended? Fine. Boring? No. Come on. Otis, thank you very much. He's like, I agree on the Ghost Runner. Leave it for later innings and extra innings, or when a game is going past 3.5 hours. That's perfect. Make it a time, but don't even put an inning on it. Put a timestamp on it. I mean, I think I saw that the fastest game in Major League Baseball this year was played like in 1 hour and 46 minutes, under 2 hours. It was a 1-0 game at Fenway Park. Imagine somebody walking into Fenway for the very first time you're ever at Fenway. Your entire life, you just wanted to get to Fenway to see it with your own 2 eyes, and you are out of there in 2 hours. Who are these shorter baseball games benefiting besides the journalists with deadlines who are covering them? I don't understand it. I've never been at a baseball game and thought to myself, God, I need this to be over with. I need this to be over with. There's also the element of, if you're watching a baseball game and you think that it's been going on too long and you're no longer interested in it, turn it off. Like, that's an option. Why do you have to cut short everyone else's enjoyment just so the person who didn't want to be here in the first place can now go home or turn off the game faster? Drives me nuts. By the way, Sporticus did send me a very funny picture. He DM'd it to me on Twitter saying, have you seen this? There was a Phillies fan at that Phillies Mets series over in London that wore a t-shirt that said the British blew a 13-colony lead. Mwah. Chef's kiss to that. That's some great international sports trash talking. I like boring Damon on the rocks. Well, thank you very much, Anthony. I'll put that $2 right in the ganja jar. Hell yeah. The damn Oilers are messing this up. Seriously, just give me something that doesn't feel like it's over in 5 because it'll be a gentleman's sweep. Give me a game 6 in either the Stanley Cup Finals or the NBA Finals. I don't want sweeps in both places. A gentleman's sweep doesn't do much for me either. Give me something to watch, damn it. Give me something to watch. My man Vasu. He's like, give me something to bet on. Mavericks -2, Florida Edmonton under 5.5. There you go. Should I parlay that, my man? Good to see you. By the way, Vasu, I've known Vasu for years. He was out at line 51 hanging out with Damon V. Damon. That was good to see a Vasu. It had been a long time since I've seen him. Is malevolent the word of the day? Yeah. Don't have a malevolent day, but yes. Enrique saying, the Mavs are simply being outplayed here. I mean, it's been Luka versus Celtics so far. It hasn't even been Luka and Kyrie versus Celtics. Again, Jason Tatum hasn't even had a good game yet. What happens when that happens? Then the Celtics really win that game? Albert saying, wait a minute. If we get a Banez, we better get a Vernon Glenn too. Vern. This is very, AJ Sargent. Yeah, I agree. I like not giving a fuck Doris Moore. It's like she knows that there are more people watching and listening than ever before, and she's trying so hard to be polite and kind and careful. She just needs to do basketball. Like, make it about basketball. AJ Cruz. I miss Craig Sager. I think we all miss Craig Sager. I miss Craig Sager. For sure. Joji, should the Giants buy or sell at the trade deadline? Well, I saw the Kawakami piece saying that they should trade for Mike Trout. I agree. Absolutely. Go ahead. Trade for Mike Trout. Even if you get him for a half a year starting next year, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. I mean, look at the money you've wasted on Jorge Soler. God, he stinks. That guy hasn't had a single important at-bat yet. There you go. Thank you very much. It's just not me being an asshole. It's Michelle as well saying, give me the dirty bird, honest opinion, and the occasional hot take Doris Burke all day long. I agree, Damon. This polished like a shiny new penny Doris is yawn. Yeah, I agree. The NBA playoffs right now is a bunch of sales commercials and movie promos. It really is. I mean, give me some good game. Give me a good series. We've had one Game 7, I believe, in the entire NBA playoffs. I was promised more competition, not less. I was promised parity. I'm glad you found me too here, Enrique. Oh, oi, oi, oi. Oi, oi, oi. Right back at you. Right back at you. Red Jet, she's finally caught up with the penis amputation. There you go. Cheers. Well, this is very, Albert, thank you. Damon is the kind of friend you want to invite over for dinner. May we all invite him to our Christmas dinner this year? That's very nice of you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Damon, Tuesday trifecta? Trifecta Tuesday? Remember that? I wish we could take call. We could do video calls, but no, we're not today. Not today. Broomhilda. She's going to be tired this month. She might be tired this month. I hope she brings a dustpan for all these sweeps. Oh, Damon, should the Giants buy or sell at the trade deadline? Do something. That's the thing. Buy. Go ahead. You think you got a good team? You think you're this close? They are kind of close. Here's the thing. The Giants aren't bad enough to be embarrassing. They're not good enough to compete with the big boys. So which way do you want to go? Do you want to get into the realm of embarrassing, or do you want to try to compete with the big boys? If the answer is let's try to compete with the big boys, go get Pete Alonso. Go get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Go get Mike Trout. Make a deal. Make a trade. Get aggressive. Why not? Smiley Dan said, I was promised punch and pie. Sorry, we got no punch and pie, but maybe we'll get together for some punch and pie at the Dubliner. This was a fun show today. I had a good time. My malevolent traits, I think, really helped the show today. So, use your malevolent traits for good, not evil. And I think the world would be a better place. Shows would be more interesting. Again, remember, in order to do a good show, you need your host to have just a little asshole in them. You really do. You need an asshole as a host, which is why I fit this bill perfectly. Because you can't be afraid to step on people's toes when it's time to step on toes. Doris Burke needs more asshole in her. She's so afraid to step on anybody's toes that she's basically saying nothing. There's always two kinds of hosts. There's hosts who get fired for saying too much, and there's hosts who are fired for not saying enough. Doris is drifting into that second group. She's not saying enough. But I feel like I've said enough today. I hope it's enough to have you come on back on Wednesday. There will be a Wake Up with yours truly and Larry Krueger. And how about this? Tomorrow, 11 a.m., West Coast time, here on the Plus, we're going to talk some Las Vegas Raiders with a really good friend of mine, JT the Brick, joining me live at 11 on Wednesday, and I hope you plan on joining me as well. We're looking forward to that. In the meantime, it was awesome hanging out with you today. Thank you so very much. Thanks for the likes, the subscriptions, the subscribing, the super chats. Again, memberships are available if you really want to support this channel. Go ahead and support Ike's, the Dubliner, and West Portal. Thank you for supporting me. It just breaks my heart to let you know that you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.